Most dangerous situations don't start dangerous. They start small, they start subtle, and most people miss it completely because they're waiting for something obvious. When in reality, what happens first is a boundary test. I want you to understand this clearly. People don't just randomly choose someone and act. They observe first, they test, and then they decide. And those tests, they're quiet. They don't feel like danger. They feel like, that was kind of weird, but you brush it off and move on. Because a lot of us have been taught to be polite, not make a scene, give people the benefit of the doubt, even when something feels off, even when your instincts are trying to tell you something. And that hesitation, that reluctance to trust yourself, that's exactly what these tests rely on. So, what is a boundary test? A boundary test is a small action designed to see how you respond, not what you say, how you respond, because your response tells someone everything they need to know. Are you aware of what just happened? Are you unsure of yourself? Are you easy to pressure or manipulate? That's what they're looking for, not perfection, predictability. They want to know if you're someone who will hold your ground or someone who will hesitate, second guess, and adjust for them. Let me give you a few examples so you can recognize this in real life. Someone stands just a little too close to you, not enough to be obvious, but enough to make you slightly uncomfortable. You feel your body tense up, but you don't move. And instead of adjusting your space, you stay put. That's information. You just told them, I noticed, but I won't do anything about it. Example number two, someone asks you a question that doesn't really make sense. Something like, hey, do you know where this place is? But their body language doesn't match the question. They're not looking around, they're not lost, they're focused on you. And instead of saying something quick, disengaging, you stay in the conversation trying to be helpful. That's information. You just showed them, I'll engage even when something feels off. Example number three, someone ignores a small no, not aggressively, just slightly pushes past it. You say, I'm good, thanks. And they keep talking. And instead of reinforcing your boundary, you soften it. You explain, you justify, you stay. That's information. You just taught them. My no isn't really a no. And I want you to think about this for a second. How many times have you felt something like that and told yourself, it's probably nothing? Or, I'm just being paranoid? Or, I don't want to be rude? How many times? That's the moment that matters, not the big moment, that small one. Because people who test boundaries are not looking for strength, they're looking for uncertainty. They're asking, will this person hold their space or will they give it up? And the answer to that question determines what happens next, whether they move on or whether they keep going. And this is where preparedness changes everything. Preparedness is not about reacting to danger, it's about recognizing patterns early before things escalate. So instead of asking, is this dangerous? You start asking, what is this behavior telling me? What patterns is forming here? That shift in thinking, that's what gives you time. That's what gives you options. So, what do you actually do when things happen? You don't need to escalate, you don't need to confront, you just need to shift. That could look like stepping out of someone's space, repositioning your body so you're not boxed in, ending a conversation early, even when it feels abrupt, moving toward a populated area. Simple, controlled, intentional. You're not reacting emotionally, you're not panicking, you're not responding strategically. You're taking back control of the interaction without announcing it. And here's what most people don't realize. When you respond early, you often prevent escalation entirely because you're no longer predictable. You're no longer easy to read. And unpredictability creates distance. It makes someone recalculate. It makes them think, okay, maybe not this person. And that's how it works in real life. And if you're listening to this and thinking, I've ignored those moments before, that's okay. Most people have. You weren't taught to see it. You weren't taught that trusting yourself was more important than being polite. Now you are. And that changes everything going forward. Now, in the next video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what to do if you think someone is following you, because that's one of those situations where early decisions matter the most, where recognizing the pattern early can completely change the outcome. Go watch that next. I'll see you there.